So this video is about the HP Laserjet 4250N laser printer and our world's greatest version of that printer. The Laserjet 4250N is one of the best laser printers ever made. It's very reliable, it's a fast printer, cheap cost per page. When you think about what does the toner cost, you can buy a toner cartridge for roughly $100, which gives you about under half a cent per page. But there are a few things that can be done to improve it, and I'll start off with what we do to improve these printers. The upgrades we do would include a metal swing plate gear. So this printer ships from the factory with a plastic swing plate assembly. This assembly is located in the back of the printer, and it drives the fusing assembly, which fits into there. This assembly with its black plastic gear has a tendency to wear out too soon. We've seen them wear out in as little as 180 to 200,000 pages. So HP has come up with some improvements on it. They put this little black spacer in there, which helps a little bit, but ultimately the best solution is our custom manufactured brass swing plate gear assembly. So this is solid brass gear with an embedded bearing, and what that does is it smooths out the rotation of this gear assembly when the fuser is being driven by it, and we've never had anybody wear one of these things out. Over 1 million pages worth of testing, and it still works great. So that's the first improvement we do. Now these are pretty expensive to manufacture, and we're the only ones making them. So just to be aware that you're probably not going to find this anywhere else. It's exclusive to Printertechs. The next thing we do is we upgrade the fusing assembly. So again, the fusing assembly is the assembly in the printer that bonds toner to paper. And these have a life expectancy of 225,000 pages when you buy a new one from HP. What we've done is we've upgraded the components in these to be rated for about 500,000 pages. We've actually tested our Laserjet 4250 fusers to over 500,000 pages, which is double the life expectancy of the original fuser. So that's the second thing we do. And again, if you're looking at refurbished printers from our competitors, there's no standard for what refurbished means in this industry. A lot of companies will just blow out the printer, and if the fuser works, they'll stick it back in. So a lot of companies don't even rebuild these. The ones that do, you might get 150,000 pages out of them, but our upgraded fuser far surpasses even the OEM life expectancy. The next thing we do with the printers to upgrade them is we increase the print speed. We do that by upgrading the firmware from a 4250N firmware to a 4350N firmware. So the 4250 and the 4250N and the 4350N are identical printers. The hardware is the same. The only difference is the firmware, which you can't just download the firmware from HP and expect to get an upgraded printer by downloading the 4350N firmware to your printer. There's a special process that we have to go through to do it. But the result is you get a 55 pages per minute printer instead of a 45 pages per minute printer. And if you look at the configuration pages on these printers, they'll actually say 4350 printer, but of course the badge on the front is still going to say 4250. So that is the third thing we do to upgrade the printers. And part of the rebuild process that we go through is not only do we replace all the feed rollers and pickup rollers, but the solenoids get looked at and repaired. The solenoids will be one for tray 1 here and one for tray 2. And what happens is, it's a bit of a process. You have to tear the printer down to the frame to do all this work. So again, if you're buying a really low-cost refurbished printer, these things probably aren't done. But anyways, if the solenoid isn't rebuilt, you're going to get sticking solenoids, and that'll cause paper jams. Other things we do that our competitors usually don't do is we make sure that the laser scanner is clean. We take that apart and clean the laser scanner. The panels on the printers, if they've turned yellow, we have a special industrial coating that we're able to paint these the original kind of off-white color. And there's a lot more that we do to these that you can read about in the article that's accompanying this video. But if you have any questions, you can contact us, call, email, however you're watching this video, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can.